us forward a bit. I'm just going to take a bit of a break and talk about the trophy bans and the hunting bans, because this seems to be a question that comes up a lot. And the simple question is, do they work? Do we have science that says that if you want to protect a certain class of animals, that the way you do it is by banning trophy hunting entirely? Or is there new knowledge about that balance? Do you know more than we do on the street, and can someone shed light?
I would put my foot forward very reluctantly, because as both Dr. Mogende and Richard know, it's a hugely emotive conversation, and something which people have got very strong views on. What I would say is that, and we believe in science-driven conservation, the science has shown very clearly that Kenya's wildlife diminished by 70% since 1970, talking about large mammals, based on, and you have to draw the correlation yourself, on the fact that we banned hunting in 1977. The days of game walking across Africa, uninhibited, are long gone. And in some closed ecosystems, we have to cull animals. And that's, again, science and evidence driven, because if any of you ever seen an animal starving to death because there hasn't been enough grazing, those of us who remember the Savo crisis in the 80s, where we had thousands of elephants dying slowly, talking about 3 or 4 months to die from starvation for an elephant, because there wasn't enough grazing. The SADC countries say, listen, we have to cull to do, to maintain these pristine, and just for humanitarian, for the ethical reason that animals should be well looked after, animal welfare. Now, if we're going to cull, what is the difference between us shooting it as a ranger, allowing a poacher to shoot it, or allowing an American who's got a very diminished sense of ego to shoot it and pay us $60,000, which goes towards conservation? And it's a very, very attractive argument, because that animal is going to die. And if it's going to die, then allow it to die in a way that contributes towards conservation. And that's their argument. And I think there's a lot to be said for it. I won't take a view on it, and certainly not with my organization's hats that I will wear. I'll be off my boards in about 30 seconds. But I do think it's worth thinking about. And I do think the science, we have to detach emotion from it. I think we're very speciesist in how we look at many of our things in this world. And I think, but I'll stop there. Suffice to say that I think it should be an open discussion, and it might not even be large mammals. It could be down to bird shooting. It goes right down to fishing. To what extent do we allow local communities to fish and creating income out of fishing? It's all part of the conversation on how wildlife can be used to the benefit of conservation. So I'll just park it there and watch the comments explode.